Okay guys, so here we are at the Ford dealership. It's time for the first ever oil change for the new GT500. Just passed 5,000 miles. The car just started telling me it's time to do the oil change. I'm really curious to find out just how much oil this car went through, because if you compare the 5.2 block that's in this car with the GT350, well, the GT350 Voodoo engine, it goes through so much oil. So many different people have had their engine seize up, basically blow up, because their oil just ran too low. I wonder if this engine's going to prove to be any better. $5,000 miles and haven't lost a drop of oil. At least that's what it seems like. This, I don't think we're going to see many blown engines with the GT500 if this is going to be the case. So getting ready to pull the car into the bay.
Looks fine.
That's the canister over there.
Yeah.
It did change it. My 350 has those kind right there.
Yeah.
It shows the Cobra on it, so I guess it changed that. Wow. And I think it has special torque settings as well. I can pull up the owner's manual if you want. It seems like the oil filter housing has to be torqued between 16 to 19 pound-feet of torque, and the oil drain plug is also 19 pound-feet of torque. Let's check this out. The track wear for the tires, it doesn't seem all that bad. Right here you can see kind of how it's creasing over. But other than that, they're actually trying to be wearing better than my Cut 2s would be with the GT350R. And this is stock camber as well. For tracking, you have to change the camber to the track camber setting. So I'm really surprised with how this is turning out to be so far. 2 track days, one at Willow Springs, one at Bun Willow Raceway, and plus in Texas in the quarter mile. So with these kind of tires, it's actually pleasantly surprising. First startup with new oil in the GT500. Let's go ahead and change that setting now. Vehicle, scroll down from vehicle, go to oil life, and then hold OK to reset. And we should be good to go. That's going to wrap up the oil change for the GT500. I'm actually really surprised by this because my GT350, it burns oil so quickly. I have tons of canisters laying all over my garage because of how quickly it burns the oil. But this, it doesn't seem like it burns any oil at all. Through 5,000 miles with track days and even a drag strip day, it seemed just fine. And that's gotta be it. I think the biggest issue with the new 2020 GT500 has to be the fuel consumption, because whenever I'm driving this car really hard, like my foot to the floor of the throttle, it just goes through so much gas. Every single time I get back inside this car, I have to fill it back up, because right now I'm back at half a tank. I think it eats up more fuel than the Super Snake does when being pushed just as hard, because at the racetrack at Bun Willow Raceway, this car went through more fuel than Scott's car, which has 1,000 horsepower. If you guys haven't seen the last video, I took this car to the drag strip, and we had a very interesting issue that came up. The clutch, it overheated, which really caught me off guard because in Texas, it never happened. So right now, I want to try doing a launch control, the same thing that I did, and hold the RPMs for about 3 seconds, like I did last time at the drag strip in Orendale. And I just want to see if we get that error message again, and also how simple it is to get that error message. We'll do a few launch controls to see if that makes the temps go up. But honestly, I didn't expect that because, like I said, it's never happened before. And I haven't seen any other GT500 have that issue. So I'm really curious to find out if that was a fluke or if it's something that's going to happen if you just do launch controls repeatedly. That's 3.8 on the street. On the drag strip, I got a 3.77. So definitely, I think that was a pretty bad run, our first pass in Orendale. But as you guys saw, 3.8 for drag tires, just normal city driving like this, with a ton of spinning. So much spinning right away. It's as soon as it gets grip, the thing just accelerates super quickly. But I think the main thing we need to try to do next time is to try to nail that initial launch. 3.6. Oh, that gets so addicting. That's so much fun. 3.6 on the street? Come on, that's good. You got to realize it's pretty good for a rear-wheel drive car on a non-prep surface like this, right? With 760 horsepower. You just saw how the traction control, all of it works so good. This time, I'm gonna lower the launch control RPM because we were spinning quite a lot during that initial launch. But after that, it seemed like it hooked just fine. So I think we're gonna find out what RPM we're set at. I think it was like 2,200 RPM. But this time, I'll go to 1,800 and maybe that'll make a good difference. Okay, here we go. Hit the Cobra button to go to track apps, acceleration timer, 0 to 60, okay to start. So 3.8 again. It seems like we're not slipping that much anymore. It's just when it comes to taking off, it's putting in a lot of traction control. What's weird is that doing those 0 to 60 runs, I noticed something I noticed at the racetrack as well. When you launch it, for a second it feels like the car bogs. Kind of like what the GT350 does when you're doing the same 0 to 60 launches. A second where it's not really accelerating, it's like a pause, and you can feel the car trying to get grip. But when it does get grip though, it just feels like there's a second where I'm not in the power band, it's not putting the power down, it's not accelerating fast enough. It's a really weird sensation. I think you'll notice if you do have this car and you do test it out, but it's not too big of an issue. I think it's what they're talking about when it comes to the 60 foot times with the new GT500, how even with drag radials, you're only seeing 0.010 of a second quicker for 60 foot, which it's not that much. So I think there definitely is this margin where the car always bogs out with the DCT once you launch and even get grip. I'm not sure if that's gonna be fixed later on, but the DCT, it may be the one thing holding back this car when it comes to being just pure all-out acceleration through the quarter mile or 8th mile, that being. But overall, as a package, you're not just getting a drag car, you're getting a car that can turn as well. So as a package itself, I think it's just fine. And running 10.6 seconds in the quarter mile, that's awesome. And plus, we gotta realize this. Most owners who buy this car will not be chasing 9 seconds in the quarter mile. It's just the honest truth. 10.6 is just fine for, I'd say, most of us. Even for me, 10.6 is, I have no complaints with it. I couldn't ask for any more for a stock Mustang with stock tires, a 10.6. It all depends on what you want to do with it. You could get this car and mod it, but that kind of diminishes its track abilities, right? If you think about it, because putting on drag tires or making your car E85 and stuff like that, I think it upsets the balance of the car because Ford, they engineered it this way, and tuning it, well, you're not quite, you're making all the engineering magic that happened just go away because you're kind of messing with it because all the electronics, all the nannies, everything comes together for one tuned package. And when you start messing with that, that's when you start seeing issues, I think. I do have a few other things I want to point out in this video because, as you guys know, we've reached 5,000 plus miles, so this is going to be a good update, I think, for all of you guys who want to get this car. The base model, yes, it's probably the best all-around performer in the sense that you can drive on the street with ease. You don't have to worry about carbon fiber wheels, a huge carbon fiber wing. It's not too expensive, it's obtainable, and it's fast at the racetrack and the drag strip. However, I think when you consider racetrack performance, it's just not quite there. I don't mean that in like an insulting way. I just feel like with my experience so far driving this car, and I'll be honest, I'm not the best driver of the new GT500 as of yet. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I have to say the PS4 tires on the racetrack, they don't deliver that same level of confidence that I would have with the Cup 2s. And it doesn't just end there. I feel like the base model needs more downforce. That's just my honest opinion because driving on the track, I feel like the entire tail end is not as planted as I'd want it to be, and I feel that especially in the higher speeds when taking corners. And if you think about the carbon fiber track pack, that's what Ford did. They put a huge GT4 style rear wing on the back of the car. I think on the racetrack, that's gonna make a huge difference. It really will. Also, the track pack is a tiny bit lower. I was told 0.6 of an inch. Not sure how accurate that is, but all these tiny aspects are definitely going to, I think, add up and make all my complaints about the base model go away. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help me out. And subscribe for much more great Shelby videos coming your way. Also, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this car not draining any oil compared to the GT350s. We've seen so many issues with the 350 for the past couple of years now with blown motors and stuff like that. With this car, could we see the end to that dilemma? Thanks for watching again, and I'll see all of you in the next episode.